spectacular. Melatonin's a wonderful thing.
You look chipper.
No, I was. Trip home went about as well as could be expected. I think we got up early and made it back 10:30, 11 o'clock, and got our guys up yesterday and had Thanksgiving, which was fun and enjoyable, and then got in the gym a little bit and Fletch lifted, and we moved him around and didn't do a ton, but we did a lot of shooting, a lot up and down, got a good sweat, and then watched some film. Today we'll be back to a kind of a normal practice, but time to, I don't want to use the word regroup, I don't like that word, but I thought Maui was kind of what I thought it would be. You find out kind of who we are, and we did it against three really, really good teams, and I think there were some positives. I thought offensively we were in the half court. Our OER was off the chart. When we move and share the ball, we were great. It was off the chart in the first two games especially. And then I think we found out we got to get a little tougher. We got to sustain some things. I thought after the Gonzaga loss, we had a chance, obviously to win it. Trent got a good look. I thought we lost a little starch in our jeans a little bit. I thought we ran out of gas and weren't tough enough. And those are some things that we've got to continue to grow with. And I thought Aaron Jordan was our player of the tournament. There was no doubt. I'm so impressed with him. He's guarding the other team's best player. He's rebounding. He's making threes. I thought his growth was tremendous. Obviously, Trent did some very, very positive things. Really quiet first halves for him. We need him to be a little more consistent. But and then I thought we got, we saw some areas we've got to improve on. We've got to guard the basketball better. Really just sits down to having some pride there, and we spend a lot of time on that in practice. You wouldn't know that. And then rebounding the basketball. And right now we're an Aaron Jordan rebounder. He's the guy that's consistently rebounding the ball for us. We've got to get much more out of Georgie, Adonis, and then we get very, very little from our guards rebounding the basketball. So it's been a point of emphasis, and like I said, I'm in a pretty good spot. For losing the 3 games, I've said you find out where you're at, and we did that against the best team in the country and had a chance to beat them. And then did really good things in both the games, but we found out who we are and what we have to work on. And instead of playing some teams and winning and not really having to deal with some adversity and deal with high-level basketball, now we know, and now we can move forward and get better. And so all in all, I think it was some growth. I thought it was some areas, obviously toughness and guarding the ball and sustaining maximum effort for 40 minutes were something we didn't do the last 2 nights, and we've got to grow there.
Defensively, how do you maybe find the balance between being aggressive and denying the ball like you want, but also maybe not giving up the easy looks?
Denying the basketball is not the problem. Guarding the basketball is the problem, and we had 7 blow-bys in the Xavier game that happened at the 3-point line or inside it. And that's something that we work at. We got to get better at it. I mean, we're just simply getting on the side of guys and literally kind of getting out of their way. A lot of it's the new guys. Aaron's probably as good at it as anybody, and so is Trent. But and then we played zone, and we got blown by in the zone 3 times, and it's just an attitude and a sense of pride of sitting down and guarding the basketball, and Io's got to get better. Allen's got to get better. Both those guys are extremely high numbers of of being attacked. And we got to get there. We got to do better jobs. So you look at the numbers, and our post defense is excellent. That's a reflection of Georgie and his footwork and his anticipation. We found out how important he is to our team when he's in foul trouble. We need him on the court. And yeah, our denials haven't been a problem. We've been pretty good at doing that. It's just literally sitting down and taking a little pride in guarding the basketball.
Andres is probably another guy you need more from on the ball. How do you kind of get him right now?
Yeah, he's just got to have it. He's got really quick hands, and he's always been able to deflect a ball or two, and he gets in trouble when he reaches. And we're trying to get him out of that. And you know, Io does the same thing. And Io's had great length and been able to play with his hands. You're not taking high major guys' basketballs, and so you've got to get out of that habit. And you know, Dre's a guy that, you know, we saw in the Georgetown game can kind of dominate a game at times defensively, and yet you know, he's strong. He's got great lower body strength, and we've got to make sure that you know, he stays in front. And when he stays in front, he's a heck of a defender.
He's having some trouble finishing at the rim against taller shot blockers, rim protectors.
Yeah, he's got to pitch it. There's no doubt. I mean, I think one of the things that was very evident in Maui was, you know, anytime we drove the ball in the paint and we pitched it, we're a really, really good shooting team, and we're going to make those shots, and it's making the extra pass. And you know, when we start throwing those kickouts, we're a good basketball team, and we scored at a very, very high rate. And I think we were 1.76 or 1.77 points per possession when the ball hit the paint, and that's off. Those numbers are off the chart. And you know, yet you can't. You know, we got to be careful. We don't want to tame him too much, because his aggressiveness is a good thing. But he's got to learn to make the adjustment when there's 6'10" guys there, or guys like Brandon Clark who jump out of the gym. You got to make those pitches.
What can you do about Adonis's troubles in the low post?
No, his is just conditioning. I mean, he's a young man that literally hasn't done anything since last spring, and I was really pleased with his play. I thought he missed a couple, but you know, those were fatigue-based, and he gives us a presence in the paint that I really like, and at both ends of the court. And you know, it's just a matter of him. I was really pleased. I probably played him more than I anticipated, but yeah, I was really pleased with what he did. You know, over the course of 3 days.
Go ahead.
Aaron's mostly been a catch and shoot guy in his career, but it seems like at least in Maui he was pulling up a little more. And is that just having more confidence type of thing? Yeah, I think more confidence. I think working on it. I think it's what we do in the off season, what our coaches do with him every single day. You know, when you can really shoot the basketball like he does, that next dimension is wide open. And I mean that because everybody's going to try to run him off the line. And now he's an aggressive driver. He gets a couple offensive rebounds a game. He shot a nice floater, you know, over the top of the defender in the Xavier game. And you know, he's coming. He's turning into a really, really good college basketball player.
I know you guys traveled back and recharged a little bit physically, but from the mental aspect, what have you noticed in terms of responding to that adversity, and how do you approach that, getting your guys thinking the right way about it?
Yeah, I think that they've got to understand that there's got to be a consistency. You know, I think that the one thing that I'm so impressed with the teams that were in Maui is that the elite programs, and I say not teams, programs, and there's a huge difference, and it's the Gonzaga way, the Zag way, and the Zona way, and the Duke way, and you know, they always know that they're going to win those games. And you know, you watch the upperclassmen of Gonzaga, and when Duke made the run, there was no level of frustration. There was just the constant effort every single time, and we have to grow from that, and we have to learn from that. And a lot of young guys who have won a lot, and a lot has been asked of them throughout their early part of their college career. And yeah, they get punched in the mouth a little bit, and how we deal with that is I've been really pleased with, but yet the consistency, and I keep talking about, it's the toughness to execute. You know, the Xavier game's a great example. We had 7 of 8 possessions where we just break off and go do our own thing, and it gets us in trouble. We did the same thing in the second half against Iowa State, and it's guys trying to do their own thing instead of letting the system work for them, and that's maturity. And the great programs never get away from that.
What do you maybe look for in a game like tomorrow, where you've already played 3 games in 3 days and then traveled 4,000 miles in 4 time zones? What kind of main challenge is that?
Toughness. Tomorrow's a toughness game. Tomorrow is a toughness game. I've been fortunate. I've been to Maui before and come back, and everybody makes a big deal about this game in terms of the travel and the lag and everything else, and yet it's about being able to get dialed in mentally. This is a team that has really good guards. The offensive rebound like crazy. They're coming off a win, and for us, we've got to continue to improve. And this will be a game that you know is another opportunity for us to develop character and a sense of who our identity is it's still forming and what that's going to be. So I look at it as a great opportunity to continue to develop some toughness.
How did Kipper respond to not starting?
He's been fine. He's been fine, and you know he knows that more is expected and needed. And you know today's a new day, and we'll see how that turns out. But he was fine.
I figure it probably started when Mac McClung got to the ball faster than Kipper did, and wound up with a reverse dunk, and that was the beginning of the funk.
I haven't looked at it like that, but yeah, I mean, I think all that we want to do is get a maximum level of competing from him, and you know, he played in foul trouble the entire time out there. He had very, very difficult matchups. He had a lottery pick the first night in Rui, and was nowhere to be found because of foul trouble in that game, and you know, and then the second night you know, he's chasing around a 5th-year senior in Shaq, who's very, very good, and then a guy that you know, Taylor Horton Tucker, who physically is every bit as strong, and he played in foul trouble again in that game. So you know, we've got to be able to keep Kip on the floor some, and if bringing him off the bench allows him to play a few more minutes, then that's something we may have to look at in the future.
Will we see a different or similar lineup tomorrow, or we're going to have another thought about that?
To be determined. That's what practice is for today. And I think you know, I feel very good about, you know, our 1, 2, and 3, and Georgie in the lineup, and you know who that other guy is going to be yet. I thought Allen kind of had a coming out party the first 2 nights. We inserted him in the lineup and really struggled. I think he got a little nervous and uptight, and I still believe in him. And yet, you know, his 5 turnovers were, I think, indicative of there's something about being in the starting lineup that gets guys nervous and uptight, and I think he played that way.
I think you talked about it in the post game about Georgie and the guys getting on him. How has he responded to that, and they just kind of over that?
Yeah, I think, you know, Georgie has so much conviction in everything he says. I love it. It's his passion. It's you know, I think he's got to find that perfect balance, and he had that in the Gonzaga game. You watch the film, and you know, he was very dialed in, very focused. He had a big night against who I think is Brandon Clark is probably the elite defender in the country, or the one that we've seen so far. He was the elite defender of that tournament anyway, and yet was very, very effective. And you know, we can't have him exuding and wasting all of his energy in the pregame. And you know, but he's passionate. He's conviction. He's got tremendous conviction. He's very smart. He's usually right in most what he says. And you know, I'll take that problem any day rather than one who doesn't care.
Are you getting maybe a little bit more out of him than maybe not you, but people might have expected?
I don't care what the people think. I give it doggone what people think, because he's got a 2-star by his name. You know, you guys with all the star system, you guys can take that and flush it down the toilet. You know, I mean, you look at Zach Norvell, nobody who knew who Rui was in a star system when he came over here. So the star system's to sell subscriptions. You know, Georgie's smart. He's got a tremendous IQ and feel. And you start looking and tell me he's going to average 12, 13 a game and 5, 6 rebounds for any freshman. Those are big time numbers, and those are going to continue to improve. Most important thing, he's an elite defender. I mean, he's doing a heck of a job. You know, I was looking on Synergy yesterday, and our Synergy numbers in post defense are some of the best in the country. And most all of that is, you know, we've played a high level post guy in Georgetown, and then the guys in this event were very, very good, and you know, he's excellent, and most of that's because of him.
Coach, you hit on Adonis, but he looks like a different guy than was out here against Georgetown with the follow dunk on Io's transition. Also provided some rim protection here and there. Just how have you seen him progress these couple games?
Yeah, it's comfort. I think it's finding out where you get your opportunities, where he's going to get them from. I think it's, you know, there's a different feeling that takes over when you play than when you practice, and there's a sense of excitement, and you have a tendency to play a little faster in a game. And I think he's now finding a comfort level where he looked really uncomfortable in the Georgetown game. You know, he's finding out there's follow dunks if I go to the offensive glass. There's opportunities in the post when I roll. There's you know, when I seal, guys are going to throw me the ball, and I think that all those things are starting to fall into place for him a little bit, and then the bottom line is he's getting in much better shape. And you know, with a knee, it's not like you can go run extra miles after practice or do a lot of those things to get in better shape. He's got to take care of that knee. So he's basically playing himself and practicing himself into basketball shape, and we see that improvement every single day.
You mentioned playing him maybe more than you thought, and some of that has to do with Georgie's foul trouble. What's Samba's status right now?
Yeah, I think just continued development. I'm excited about Samba's future, and you know, yet I think there's some growth that needs to continue to happen. I think he can help us. I think he can provide rim protection and do some of those things. Yet I want to put him in situations where he can be successful and not necessarily don't want him to struggle, lose confidence, and yet I'm excited about where he's going to, how he's progressing.
Foul trouble wasn't an individual thing, and now it was. What was maybe anything that tied all that together, where a lot of the guys seem to find themselves in that?
Yeah, I think young teams have a tendency to foul, especially early. I think that you know, Kippers was probably, you know, Kipper and Tev are probably the two guys that are struggling the most with it. You know, their fouls per minute are up. It's positioning, it's reacting instead of thinking. You know, Kip committed one in the Xavier game. The ball's 35 feet from the rim. He's guarding the guy and he just reaches in. I mean, and those fouls aren't smart fouls. Those are ones we can't commit. You know, I think we're fighting that fine line between aggressiveness and then playing with intelligence. And you know, I don't mind the fouls that are aggressive, going after balls, going after rebounds, doing those things. But we commit a lot of reaching fouls because we're not moving our feet. We have officials every single day in practice for those reasons, and we got to continue to grow there.
Tomorrow's epilepsy awareness game is something that's close to this program.
Absolutely, and you know, I think that it's obviously a member of our staff, Jamal and Rebecca, their son, deals with those issues, and that hits home, and yet you see what a wonderful young man he is and is going to be, and full of energy, and how that's not just him, how it affects other families. And so for us to be able to bring attention to that, to do our little part in trying to make that something that we can do to help, and that's what this is about, and obviously it hits home very closely, and we're excited to be a part of that.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.